And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Friday, May 16th, 2025. And in the weather-related headlines across the state of Alaska, a flood watch continues at least until Monday morning for the Buckland River at Buckland. The ice is breaking up and we have some melt runoff as well, contributing to rising water levels. So far, there has not been any notable flooding observed, but the water levels are expected to continue to rise this weekend with the potential for at least some minor flooding. Now, the River Watch flights are done for the season. The Kuskokwim broke up without too much in the way of any significant problems, a little higher water down toward Bethel and below, but that was about it. The Yukon also has broken up and continues to have some ice flows, but the threat of any major flooding is for the most part done. And we are looking at the potential for maybe some minor ice jam flooding in a few areas where if any of those ice flows could back up. But otherwise, things are looking pretty good. And the snowmelt flooding still possible. We're waiting for the Porcupine River up there in Canada and above Fort Yukon to break up and contribute some of that snowmelt water, but that hasn't happened yet. And then overall, just a weak and unstable pattern will persist across much of the state, with the wettest conditions along the Gulf Coast and especially into the Panhandle between now and up through Memorial Day weekend. And looking at a couple of the FAA webcams this Friday afternoon, Buckland mostly cloudy, 55 degrees. Temperatures there are above freezing, and again, melting occurring in that the melt-off runoff combined with some ice could cause some minor flooding there around Buckland. Metlakatla, way down in the southern parts of the Panhandle, getting some light rain and fog, 50 degrees. It's been a wet day here across much of the Panhandle, northeastern Gulf Coast. Looks like come Saturday afternoon, evening into Sunday morning will be the driest period coming up before yet another low brings some more rain to areas of the Panhandle here later this weekend. So keep that in mind. But we still have these hydrologic statements out for the Porcupine River coming on down through the Yukon. But again, we're not anticipating any major problems. And then the flood watch for the Buckland River there at Buckland. So as we do anticipate water levels to continue to rise along the Buckland River as we go through at least the early weekend. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But as of this point, it's just a flood watch, meaning the potential exists for some flooding. But otherwise, all of the southern rivers are open. And the Yukon still does have some ice flows, especially below, well, I should say from Beaver to Tanana and areas downstream as well. But the water levels are relatively low, and if any ice jams occur in a little more favorable bend, that could allow the water to back up. And there's still the potential for some isolated minor areas of flooding. But overall, the process continues, and the Yukon will continue to the ice on there degrade and work its way out or melt off. But we still have the Porcupine River above Fort Yukon, especially up into Canada. It has not broken up yet. So eventually, this river does contribute a fair amount of snowmelt runoff once it gets going. And that's still probably a number of days away. And then looking at the fire danger for this Friday, we have dry weather generally in the interior. There have been some scattered rain and snow showers, and that's led to higher fire danger in a few areas, particularly around Fairbanks. Parts of the southwest also have some elevated fire danger, though the fuels are not as dry as the central parts of the eastern interior. And the outlook is we have this unsettled weather pattern that continues across much of the state, which will keep fuel conditions moderated in most areas. It's not like we're going to get this big warm ridge of high pressure with warm temperatures or any sort of breezy conditions. So there are some areas here in the central interior where fire danger is high to very high. And again, this time of year, this is grass, because grass is the primary carrier of fire in the early season. But we find in the southwest interior, conditions there, not really much of a threat. So at least at this point in the early fire weather stages, we're in pretty good shape. Now, looking at the satellite imagery, I have an area of low pressure here in northern Gulf, moisture that's pulled in over the Panhandle, areas of rain or rain showers all throughout the Panhandle along the Gulf Coast. As we go further west, we do find some unsettled weather, mainly some lower clouds along areas of the west coast, back in through the Bering, extending out toward the Aleutians. And later tonight into early Saturday morning, we have this low that kind of just pulls back here toward the northwestern Gulf with a trough up into the Panhandle. And this is just going to keep some lingering showers. The rain overall will gradually diminish across the Panhandle as we go through tonight into Saturday morning. So Saturday afternoon, evening into Sunday morning will be the driest period here for the Panhandle, northeastern Gulf Coast. Another low is going to come up from the North Pacific and bring more precipitation later this weekend to the Panhandle. Back across the interior, these weak troughs into northwest Canada and back along the west coast are keeping the weather unsettled, but these are not heavy producing precipitation systems, nor are they especially windy. And Saturday afternoon, we find weak low pressure right between the spine of the Brooks Range and the Yukon River, and this trough just kind of through there. So with the daytime heating, there could be some pop-up showers, whether it be rain or snow, depends on elevation. Certainly around the Alaska Range, Wrangell, St. Elias Mountains, there could be some snow showers. And then back further west, weak ridge of high pressure up into the lower Bering with a weak low way out there west of the western Aleutians. But here comes that next low. And as we get into Sunday, that low will spread more rain into especially southern and central Panhandle by the time we get into Sunday night and Monday. And we still, even though this looks worse than it is, there'll be a potential for some scattered showers over areas of the mainland as we go through Sunday and even into Monday. So Monday's weather, we are looking for still some, notice this unsettled weather, weak low pressure systems, that other low coming up here into the Panhandle. And that is going to provide some additional rainfall again as we go through Sunday night and Monday. Still a scattering of rain showers in the lower valleys and some snow showers as you get up into the mountains, a little higher in elevation and back to the west. A low coming in up toward the western Aleutians with breezier conditions and some additional rain. Temperatures for tonight into Saturday morning, below freezing along the north slope, Arctic coast teens there. For the interior, we do have some milder temperatures, readings staying above 40 in some areas of the middle Yukon. And overall, we're seeing now that we are getting deeper into May. Now we're at the midpoint of May. We should be a little better here. In fact, temperatures could flirt with 70 degrees around Tanana Saturday afternoon to get that full sunshine. Otherwise, a number of readings in the 60s, middle Yukon up through the Tanana valleys. Not quite as warm down through south central or in through the Panhandle. Panhandle still having some cloud cover and a few lingering light showers, but not as steady as today. And back out along the Aleutian chain, highs generally in the 40s. Again, lows Sunday morning, similarly, some teens north slope along the Arctic coast. And then readings along the middle Yukon could be in the lower mid-40s. We find lower mid-40s across much of the Panhandle, as well as in through areas of south central. Still a bit below freezing, the lower Yukon Delta, Emonic, say down to Makoriak and on over toward Savunga. We expect temperatures below freezing. And then Sunday afternoon highs, readings could still get back up into the 60s. 66th forecast high for both Fairbanks and on over toward Eagle. And we find readings generally up through the Kuskokwim, lower half of the Yukon Valley for Sunday afternoon in the 50s. And again, we'll see some 50s throughout south central, warmest readings as you go up in through the lower Matsu Valley, Palmer, on up toward Willow, and Wasilla could have some high temperatures near 60 degrees on Sunday afternoon. But overall, compared to where we should be this time of year normal, so as we look ahead, May 22nd into the 26th, leading up into Memorial Day weekend, temperatures are forecast to average below normal, especially over the southeast along the northeastern Gulf Coast Panhandle. That's going to be due to cloud cover and some rain. That cooler than normal temperatures extend up through the eastern portion of the mainland and along the Alcan border with near normal temperatures. Anchorage, Kotzebue, lower half of the Yukon River. And then precipitation is expected to average above normal, especially along and south of the Yukon River, Alaska Range. And this could include areas of the southwest as well as southeast and south central mainland and across the Panhandle, because this pattern, these weak weather systems and just generally unsettled weather. We'll keep some areas of rain going along the Gulf Coast and the Panhandle. It won't rain all the time, but then also with that moisture in place, you get the daytime heating. So we do anticipate there could be a scattering of rain showers in the lower valleys, and then in higher elevations of the mountains still could be some snow showers or rain and snow showers mixed. But this pattern will likely continue now from mid-month up through the end of May.